We are talking Tua Tagovailoa, and also I'm giving you some updates on our defensive coordinator search. What is up, Finn fans? Saturday video for you guys. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. Barry Jackson yesterday came out with a very good article. I haven't read it in its entirety because I wanted to do fresh eye reading with you guys talking about Tua Tagovailoa and his stats. But also I got some updates on the DC search. It seems like it was yesterday we were searching for a DC, and now all of a sudden we're searching for one again. But we've brought in at least one guy for an interview, and that is former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley. He's meeting with the Packers as their defensive coordinator job and is scheduled to meet with the Dolphins about their DC vacancy this weekend. Has drawn interest from the Rams about being a potential Raheem Morris replacement per source. Now, if you guys don't know, he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams in 2020 when they had hands down the best defense in football. Now, yes, they had a good linebacking core, and they had Aaron Donald, and they had Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Ramsey even came out and kind of gave a nice little review and standing ovation-esque for Brandon Staley. But here's the thing, and this is my reservation for Staley. First, he's done it before. That is first on my list for these DCs. I don't want a new one. Like, I think Campanile, if he's the last-ditched effort, like if these guys don't fit, then sure, I'm good with Campanile being a in-house bringing up. But I want a guy who's been a defense coordinator before, and Brandon Staley's done it before, and he's been incredibly successful. Now, with the Chargers, he has been incredibly unsuccessful. And he didn't want to give up the duties as defensive play caller. Maybe should have, but he will be this weekend, probably today, as an interview goes there. Also, the Miami Dolphins have requested an interview with Bills linebacker coach Bobby Babich. I'm not saying bad blank. I'm saying Babich for their defensive coordinator job per source. That's 3 for Babich, who has emerged as a top young candidate. So that one's interesting to me. Now, he came out, obviously, first off, the linebacking core for the Bills has always been really good. So that's kind of a good thing there. But also, he's had a presser, and he was kind of talking about the fits and how he looks at guys, and a lot of people say, oh, he's too small for this position, or he's this or that. And he says he just watches them on the field and makes sure that they can fit. And I'm noticing that with Staley and even Babich, that their whole mantra is putting the guys in the best situation for them to be successful. And that's kind of what Mike McDaniel did with the offense. Now, you're starting to see a way that they're going with the defensive coordinator, but I still want Wink Martindale. I want that experience. But again, if they go in that way, you kind of take one old timer defensive coordinator, replace him with another. But I will say this, there's 2 openings as of me recording this for Seattle and for Washington, even though Ben Johnson is kind of rumored to get the Washington job. Mike Vrabel's still out there. That's all I'm saying. But those are your 2 updates. I'll let you know how the meetings go and all that other stuff, and if I get any other updates. But Barry Jackson came out with this article saying what final metrics revealed about Tagovailoa, where he's great and where more is needed. And that's kind of something I've been talking to you guys about in my assessment of Tua, kind of how, to me, he's like 90% there. It's just that 10% is like the end of the year stuff and like the clutch moments when we need him at the end of the year. He just doesn't show up. So I thought, hey, don't read the article, read it on video, and give my assessment and see how you guys feel about this video and article from Barry Jackson. So he says a 6-pack of Tagovailoa notes and metrics heading into the offseason. The biggest concern in otherwise strong season remains his performance when he faces a stout defense late in close games when a heavy pass rush is in his face. And that I agree 1,000%. For his career, when trailing in one-possession games with under 5 minutes remaining, Tua is 53 of 89, 59.6% for 601 yards, 6.8 yards per attempt, with 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, with a passer rating of 83.6. This season, he was 14 for 25 for 134, with a touchdown and 1 interception in those situations. That's a poor 64.4 passer rating. And Miami was 2-3 in those games involved in NFL equivalent a clutch time in the NBA. This season, Tua led the Dolphins to a victory against Dallas, won on a field goal with no time remaining, and a fourth quarter comeback win against the Chargers, capped by a 4-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill to give Miami a 36-34 lead with 1:45 left. Those were excellent performances and shouldn't be glossed over. On the flip side, he threw a red zone interception with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter against Philly when the Dolphins were trailing by a touchdown. He couldn't hit Cedric, who was streaking open with his team down a touchdown and 2 minutes left against the Chiefs in Germany. There was a clear miscommunication on that play. That's what he said in parentheses. Then couldn't corral a slight errant snap on the fourth down 28-27 against Tennessee and 1:45 left. Tagovailao and the Dolphins mustered only 19 yards on 6 plays, and Tua took a sack on fourth down. He threw an interception with just over a minute left and his team down by a touchdown in the regular season finale against Buffalo. And all of those things that Barry is talking about is the 10% I am talking about. If he can get past that, and he can get past that little hump of whatever mental gymnastic he needs to do, I think he could be a franchise quarterback. Right now, he's just a good quarterback that can definitely play for teams, and it's definitely a starter in the NFL, but it's those little hiccups in the things that Barry just listed off is what's holding him back. And there's this. In the fourth quarter of this season, Tua's 75.9 passer rating was among 18th among starters who played in at least 10 games. San Francisco's Brock Purdy was 123.8, and Josh Allen was 104.0. That's horrible. Important to note that Kansas City All-Pro Patrick Mahomes was 71.7 in the fourth quarter of this season, but he obviously has proven his greatness among qualifying quarterbacks. Mahomes was the only other 10 caliber quarterback who finished below Tua in fourth quarter passer rating. Yeah, 100%. Like, we could look at that metric, right? Because Tua was not good in the fourth quarter this year. And then you could say, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes wasn't either. But Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time Super Bowl champ, MVP, all that stuff. So he can have an off year. Tua played 7 games against a top 10 scoring defense. He was good against the Dallas Cowboys, 24 for 37, 293 yards, a touchdown, and interception, 98.1 rating. And very good against the number 9 Las Vegas, 28 for 39, 235, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 103 passer rating. He was subpar in the second Buffalo game, 62.7 rating, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And the first Kansas City game, 21 for 34, 193 and 87 rating. In the Baltimore game, 22 for 38, 237, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 71.9 rating. And we all know about the playoff game. He was okay in the first Bills game, 22 for 34, 282, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 92.8 passer rating, but that was a blowout by Buffalo. When facing quarterback pressure, Tua has a dismal 57.5 passer rating. Only Zach Wilson, Bryce Young, and Mac Jones were worse among qualifying per Pro Football Focus. Tua completed only 46 of 113 passes when pressured, with 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The question is whether Tua's accuracy can ultimately overcome his struggling making something out of nothing, a skill that Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson possess because of their elusive and run ability. So that's all the bad. He's not clutch in the fourth quarter. You know, we had the 2 games that he talked about. Outside of that, not clutch. When pressure's in his face, he does not do well. So now on the flip side, Tua was exceptional with a clean pocket, 112.5 passer rating, when he was well protected with 3rd best in the league behind Purdy and Jared Goff. He completed an elite 76.6% of his passes when clean and 27 touchdowns, tying for Dak Prescott for the most in the league. His 4,057 yards with a clean pocket were 723 more than any other quarterback threw, which is testament to Tua's quick release and very good pass protection. But his 12 interceptions when kept clean also led the league. But here's the thing. And here's the thing that he needs to work on this offseason. He's not always going to have the clean pocket, especially in the situations you are down by 2, you're down by 4, you're down by whatever, and this is the drive to win the game. You're going to get blitzed. You're going to get pressured, and your offensive line isn't always going to be able to pick up everything. Like, we all saw Brock Purdy wipe his hand and then throw the ball, and we're all like, why can't we have that? It's unrealistic to think that you're going to have perfect pass blocking throughout a whole game, throughout the whole season. So that's something he needs to work on, whether using his quick release and decision making to get the ball out quicker or what. Tua remained well above average on deep ball accuracy, or specifically passes that traveled at least 20 air yards. Among quarterbacks that threw at least 40 such passes, Tua completed the fourth highest percentage, 50.8, behind Purdy 63.8, CJ Stroud 56.1, and Stafford 51.9. Tua's 32 completions on passes that traveled 32 or more air yards, tied with Stroud for third behind Prescott and Trevor Lawrence. His 1,149 yards on such passes led the league. His 11 touchdowns on such passes tied with the Saints' Derek Carr and Prescott for second most in the league behind Purdy and Lawrence. Tua, 7 interceptions on such plays were third most behind Allen's 9 and Jalen Hurts 8. So overall, this is a good, statistic dump and kind of gives us an idea. And I'm not surprised. Nothing that was said in this article is surprising at all, because the thing that I've talked about, and I talked about after, going into the Ravens game and then going into the Buffalo game and then going into the Chiefs game, how this is your time, man. You got to show what you can do. You got to step it up and do what you need to do. And unfortunately, he didn't. And that's what he needs to work on, because we know what Tua is and we know what Tua is good at. He's good at getting the ball out quick. He's good at accuracy. He's good at anticipation. And he's good at pocket presence. But when you get a blitz on him and when you get pressure on him, not necessarily a blitz, because you blitz him, he'll make you pay. I'll even look up, I talked about it, but I'll even look up the PFF grade of when you blitz Tua. It's not a smart situation to do, because he will make you pay, especially if, he has the passers, the receivers that he has. Yeah, when blitzed, he has 113.8 passer rating, 65 completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 1,000 yards, and an 89.3 PFF grade when you blitz him. You don't want to blitz him. You don't want to blitz him. But under pressure, that's a horse of a different color. He's bad. He's bad under pressure. So it's not necessarily blitzing him, but being under pressure. But that's kind of coincides with the video I made yesterday. If you know these things, and if I know these things, if Barry knows these things, the Dolphins have to know these things, then you have to address the offensive line. If you're going to roll with Tua this year, which they obviously are, then you need to address these things if you want to win. You need to be able to have an offensive line, if someone goes down, that will be able to keep him clean for most of the game. Because, again, you're not going to not be under pressure for a full season and a full game. That's just not how the NFL works. So Tua, work on it, and Dolphins, fix it. Because those are the things that he needs to work on. And you want that fat contract, that's how you got to work on it. But I thought this article was interesting, so that's why I wanted to make this video. And I also wanted to make this video, give you guys an update on the DC search. But comment below, let me know what you guys think. Is this a more of a duh moment, like I knew this already, Doug? Is this more eye-opening? Comment below, let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys on Monday. Got some big games tomorrow. Should be fun, but on that, like usual, stay classy. My fins up.